All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is May 7th, 2018. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Wait for the Trade to Come to You. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we are going to get started. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and look at a chart. Now, real quick, just a quick look at the chart. What's the overall trend on this chart? Anybody? That's right. I think everybody's getting it. It's up, right? Because if you look at this, just go ahead and draw like your lightning 4 even if you want to. You know, lightning 4 is like that. Notice you have a swing here that's identified, like so. Notice how it didn't get it. That's pretty much telling you that the trend's still up. Now, this is the overall trend. Now, this trend has been down for a bit. Obviously, you could take some trades through here, like box in rollovers and things like that. But what we're talking about is the overall trend. Now, let's go ahead and see where the trade is right now. All right, this is Lightning 2. All right, now tonight's webinar is going to teach you how to wait for the trade to come to you, but first you have to know where the trade's coming back to get in it to begin with. Okay, now I mentioned this morning in the trading room that I took this little trade because I've just looked at enough charts and taught enough times to see these things, and you can really see them in real time. Okay, so for instance, if this was to break this little swing right across here, it's more than likely going to come down to here, isn't it? That's an a priori swing. That's our lightning 3. Okay, notice that number on there. Anytime you've got these numbers on here, the green numbers mean that lightning 3 has activated. Okay, the yellow ones mean that lightning 3 has activated. The white ones mean that lightning 4 has activated, and on your regular charts it's actually navy blue, but on this one it's just this like a coral blue. Okay, but that's your lightning 4. Okay, so if you were trading this on Sunday night, to give an example, and you wanted to get a really nice trade right out of the gate, would you have gone short against this chart at all? Not unless you really wanted to scalp it, right? Yeah, because you want to stay with the overall trend, because the whole idea when you're trading is not to get whacked around, and the thing is, if you go against the trend, you can get whacked around pretty easily. Okay, now even if you look at lightning 3, you have a thrust, a retrace, and we don't know where lightning 3 is up here yet because it hasn't identified it yet, but you can clearly still see, even in the mind's eye, that this is your thrust, right? This is your retrace. And even if I don't have lightning 3 on the chart, to activate up here, because it takes a little bit more to activate it, I still see it like this. Okay, I know that that's my swing that they can't take out, and this is the swing they should bounce at. Everybody see that? So if you did get in a trade like this, for instance, you could always put your stop just with lightning, just in case it went the other direction. Okay, but let's look at what this looked like on Friday afternoon, because this is actually real charts, and this is what YM looked like when it closed on Friday afternoon. Okay, so when I was sitting in here in my trading room last night, I looked at my chart and I said, you know what? I do believe that it's going to come down and check this more than likely at the open. I could technically take a short if it broke the swing, like with lightning. But keep in mind, at the open of the market on Sunday night, you don't really want to be in it for that first couple of minutes at least. Okay. You can luck out occasionally, but as a rule, you want to be with the direction of the trend. Okay. Now, you could take this trade like one of several ways. Okay. You could actually box a region in. I would probably recommend at least a touch plus 2 or 3, just in case it doesn't quite come down here. That way you get in the trade. Or you could even use stealth. Stealth would be on this, like this chart right here. See, your stealth is green right here, but if it breaks it, it may even go red, but green will actually show up again once it bounces off of our support. So you could use stealth too. Okay. So basically what I did last night, and this is the way we teach this. So, this is nothing, groundbreaking or anything like that. It's the fact that this is the way it works. I mean, it really works well this way. Now look at this little chart right here also, just real quick. And let's get this out of the way. We don't really care about this as much. All right, see your little thrust, retrace. Okay, so if you drew your lightning 2, that's that same thing as that other chart, right? So isn't that more than likely going to come and kiss this support that was resistance and became support now? Let's see, can you go either direction on stealth short of green, for example? Well, Kenneth, you actually could, but the one thing that I would highly recommend, especially if the thing's starting to trend, and this was even on Friday afternoon when it closed the market, it was trending already. You had a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. So this was actually trending to the upside, unless they decided to take out support. Okay. But this is actually support here, but so is this. So if I was going to be shorting this, I would be pretty much looking for a break below here, not so much just below here, because it might just wick it and then take off again. Okay. But if I was going to short this, I would be looking for a break like something like that, and then come back and kiss and then roll over. That could be a decent short trade, right? But if this was to come down and bounce off of this, I'm expecting it to head up. Okay. And of course, keep in mind that once resistance is broken, it becomes support, right? And your most prominent support is your lightning 3. Okay. Or even like a lightning 2, because lightning 2 will also end up, for instance, coming down here and bouncing off here and, start stair stepping back up. Okay. So what I did yesterday is I just simply did this. I said, okay, I'm not going to take a breakout. I'm going to do a little region trade. Probably have to turn my scripts on here first, or it's not going to let me do. You got to have a bar close on Object Trader. Let's see if we can get a bar close. And I'll go ahead and see if I can get a little region at all. This is still right before the market, 458. Now, I don't remember if I was actually able to get a region up or just pretty much just nailed it, when it came down to that line. Here we go. All right, now keep in mind that there's your little bounce spot right there. Could you actually put like a region on there? See, this would actually be a good trade. Now, why is that not firing? I bet I know why. Just a second. It's the session. We'll see if we can get something here in just a second. Otherwise, I'll probably have to restart Object Trader. I've had it dormant, literally waiting for this webinar, so I'll just go ahead and do that. Go ahead and put it on the chart. And the same thing on the other one. We'll just go ahead and leave the other one. We don't care about it as much. But can you clearly see that came down right to where that I thought it would to begin with? And so could I actually, box this in pretty tight, because I would already be in the trade. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I just kind of just clicked it. But if you did do a region, basically, you would set your region up. And if this was to decide to go out of here, I don't usually like close, because you could close inside and then you have to close outside to get the trade. And sometimes that gets you in way too late. I like usually a touch plus as a rule. and then you just get a trade. See, there's your trade right there. Now, I could also even add to it if I wanted to, okay? But this little trade just literally went nicely, okay? When this opened yesterday, matter of fact, you could add again if you wanted to. See there? Just like that. And you just moved your targets out of the way because this thing really moved last night. I was watching it and I thought, wow, this thing's, pretty awesome actually. And when it made the first thrust, before it pulled back at all, I went ahead and got out of the trade. And you can do that, obviously, anytime you're trading, right? Watch your power meter. See, we've got a little stop area that would be right here, for instance, right now. You could go ahead and bring that stop right under there. See, everybody, how that would work? Now, if you didn't want to ride this thing all the way up, obviously, it's right at a predictor right now. So you could actually see close it out. See how the predictor pulled back a little bit? Right at predictor. And that's where I actually took my coin last night on that trade. But it did set up another beautiful trade that you can seriously take with Object Trader again. And all you've got to do is take the predictor trade. See, it bounced up on the predictor. You'd probably want to take some coin at this top. At least take something off is what you'd want to end up doing. Okay, let's see who is trading after 5 Central Time. Well, Robert, on your question, on Sunday night, keep in mind that the market opens at 5 p.m. Central Time, and a lot of traders do go ahead and trade it. Sunday evening, the market's open for the first part of the week, so you can definitely trade it if you want to. Absolutely can. I'm going to take one off because it's pulling back a little bit. See how it just double topped there? You could even take 2 off if you wanted to. That way you don't give up a bunch of your coin, okay? Because where is it going down to right now? Well, let's look and see if we can figure it out. All right, let's look to the left to trade the right. I've got a swing right here. Everybody can see it. High, low, higher, high. I've got a swing also right here, but it didn't identify. See it right up here? It didn't take out the top. So could I get ready to take another trade here if it just simply comes down between those 2 lines? And the answer is yes. Let's see, you have 2 screens up. Is that on purpose? Well, John H., you could actually, if you wanted to use 2 screens, you certainly can. What I was going to show you was that you could actually take stealth, to give an example. See where this red stealth right here, and then it turned green right here? You can actually use that stealth also if you'd like. If you want, I'll back this up and show you how to do that particular trade. Because what I used was the little region right here just to show y'all. Okay, now look at this right here. This is probably going to wick here, and it's not going to take this out. Why do I say that? Because you have a high, you have a low, you have like an ABC, you got a double top. That swing is not identified, but that one is. Everybody see that? On my video, you had 2 charts up that were the same. Well, what the deal was on that, John, I was going to show how to do the stealth also. Okay, and I'll show that in just a second if you want to. Let me just back this up and I'll show it to you. Bear with me a second. We'll go back to about 5, a little bit before 5, obviously, because you wouldn't want to be in it at 5. Let's go ahead and let it reset. And I'll show you how to do a stealth trade too. Let it go ahead and reset. It's loading the data right now. And okay, so could you use stealth on this trade? And the answer is yes on this. Let the market open. Let me just show you how you could do this trade because I've done this several times on Sunday. Let me get the data going again. Okay, see this is at 4:56 on Sunday night. Okay, remember we expected it to come back here. That's our lightning swing. Okay, could we actually short it? And the answer is probably yes, but I'm going to teach you how to stay on the right side of the trade rather than, jumping in the other direction, because if you go against the trend, just scalp it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and see if they take out green stealth at all, and see the open comes in just a couple of minutes. Let's speed it up just a little bit so it'll go faster. And I'll show you how to do a stealth trade. And then I'll slow it down. Okay, that's 5 o'clock right there. All right. Now notice how that bounced off of your spot that I just said that it would, right? Now keep in mind a stealth trade is going to be more of a breakout trade. So what I do is do stealth, long, say a couple of contracts or so, and then just watch the way this does. This will actually do the stealth, but it's going to be late. Okay, I got in way down here, okay, earlier, but watch this. This basically had a red stealth. You're not going to get a green stealth till up a little higher. Okay, see how you don't have a stealth yet? That's because of that red stealth jumping in. Let's see if we can get a green stealth here real quick. This is right at the open. Got a green stealth. Let's see. Well, we didn't get our trade on the green stealth. Not sure why. But the green stealth did show up right there. Okay. Now, probably the reason that didn't is because I backed this up and didn't restart Object Trader. So that's more than likely it. With market replay, that type of stuff happens right there. So let's just say if you weren't in this trade, let's see if everybody can figure out where the next trade is. Let's let it do its thing first. Okay. All right. Now remember what I said just a few minutes ago? You got a double top. This is not an identified swing. Okay. So don't count that as your identified swing when you have a double top. This is your swing right here. Okay. So if we're going to head up, you would expect it to hit its head in this little sweet spot box. Right in here. Okay. Now does everybody see why I picked that area? Because when you look to the left to trade the right, keep in mind, as long as you're having an uptrend, you're going to be getting higher lows and higher highs. You cannot take out that 24,260. Well, midband also, Dennis, absolutely, on your question there. All right. So let's see if we can get us a little trade here. We'll look for a predictor trade. We could actually even set it up for predictor if you wanted to. We could go with predictor. Let's go with a touch +2 on a predictor. And we'll do 1 first, just in case they go sideways a little bit. Let's see what it does. Let's see, I see exactly. Have you ever thought of an indicator that auto draws the resistance levels? Well, John, on your question, this little, this lightning does that pretty well. See there? That's your support and resistance levels right here. You know, remember when it came down to 2410 and it's popped up? Well, if you draw it with Lightning 2, you basically see that it thrust up, it pulled back into support, thrust up, pulled back into support, and right now it's trying to bounce off of this 57 area. Okay, you want to see if we can get the trade? Okay, let's do it. No trade yet. See, it didn't touch our predictor. And we'll do a couple. See if we can get a predictor trade. Now predictor, if it's past predictor, this may not fire. We may be looking at a different predictor, so we'll find out if it fires. Didn't get close. It's outside the parameter of predictor now. Do we have that version of Object Trade with the support and resistance levels? Dennis, on your question, yeah, that's part of our scripts here. All you have to do on your Lightning, go to your Lightning indicator, which is Lightning 3, and turn on your display. That's all you have to do. See, it's a display, and you can put it like as a solid, a dot. You can put it as a horizontal line, even, or pardon me, a line if you want to, like I did the other night. And your display is actually going to be these lines right here. And I just made them kind of large. Okay, look at that. Now, would you fire a trade right there? More than likely. I'd be ready to. See if it gets down to this predictor. We're going to just let it come to our mid-band, or at least touch our line here, which it already did, so hopefully we get this trade. See if we can get it. Not going to take it just yet. See, when this double tops like this, as a rule, they take out this swing. That's why when so many people have their stop sitting here, you're going to find that they'll take you out. Well, watch and see if they don't do that. I've seen this 1,000 times, probably 20,000 times. Because when they double top, they can't take out the top, so they're going to take out the bottom before they head up. See if we get another predictor. Now that looks pretty inviting to me, but not just yet. We'll just go ahead and wait. It didn't hit our predictor, and it didn't close below our little swing. So let's wait a few minutes and see if we can get something. There was a predictor right there, but I unfortunately just missed it. So I'm going to buy it anyway, and I'll bet you what I have to do. Let's just go ahead and close this out just real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and start Object Trader over. You can't do market replay and let Object Trader, start and stop and everything like that, because it doesn't know what it's doing, when you go backwards and things like that. So let's see if we can get a trade. All right, let's see here. Well, we could even set up a little region. I'll go ahead and do that since that's higher than I would want it, but I would probably take that trade anyway, simply because it bounced where I said it would, right on the money. Let's see if it'll take it on up. Wouldn't a region box be better? Davin, on your question, the reason we put everything into Object Trader that we did was so that a person could actually use, region. You can use bar close. You can use lightning trades. So you could even use lightning. See the red lightning? See, it just went green. It would fire that trade. That would have fired automatically on that green power meter right there. Okay. Right now we're going to actually close above. See, we just did. Always get one of your targets out of the way. Second target out of the way. Look to the left to trade the right. Look to the left and see where your next target is. I'd probably put one right about through there just in case. No, that's too low, because we got a breakout. I'm going to have to go at least to here. And I wouldn't even do that because that's only like 5 ticks. So I'm just going to leave my stop in. Now, when you're trading, do you also keep an eye on where this thing could change trends or change directions anyway? We don't know for a fact that it's going to yet, but if this takes out this high here and you have a low here, then we're going to have an identified swing. Okay? And watch and see, we got a number too, didn't we? Just then we got a number. So that's an a priori swing right there. So if that were to take that out, we could actually head down instead of up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move my targets a little bit. Now, let me show you something else that you can do if you want to really make some, fairly decent coin. Okay, we didn't go over a lot of these trail stops that are in Object Trader over the last few webinars. Okay, you can actually utilize our stops such as the dynamic trend. Remember on Saturday I showed you that line 0, line 1, line 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? Okay, you can choose those from here. Okay, you can also choose lightning. Lightning is just simply go over to this one, it's LTNG. Hit your little space bar to see where the lightning is. That looks pretty good to me. And then just engage it. And there's your lightning right there. Okay. Now, if I wanted to do lightning 1 instead, I just simply change it like that. See there? And then engage it. And there's my trail. Okay. So I've got lightning 1 as my swing, and I'd probably back it off just a little bit, usually the other direction, by about 3 ticks and re-engage it. The reason for that is so that they don't just wick out your little swing. Okay, now watch lightning. One will actually follow as soon as this kind of pops up. You should get another lightning one. Let's see if we do. See there? Just popped up. This keeps you a nice tight stop to run with, like multiple contracts, and it adds your coin up pretty quickly. Okay? Because the way we've got this right now is we've simply got it set on lightning 1 to take us out of the trade. Okay, and we could just get our targets out of the way. When Charles says, get your targets out of the way, this is running, that's the way to make coin right there. Okay, now if we get lightning now, unfortunately, it's all the way down here. Okay, if you want to tighten this a little bit, all you'd have to do is come like below 6. Could actually change to the other trend one. Change it to line 6. Offset it just a little bit and engage it. And what I normally do is exit on close. Okay? See that? See how that kept you in the trade too? Now that it kind of bounced off that, you can go back to lightning if you want to. All you have to do is just say, okay, as soon as they pop this up, it's going to go to here. We're going to be 3 ticks under it, so let's see if we'll engage it on lightning. We'll leave it here for a minute, and we'll see if it doesn't take this up and leave this as our new stop. Let's see, do we have, you said unidentified swing, it came down and went up. Kurt, on your question, identified swings is one of the most important things that we teach at Viper Trading Systems. Identifying a swing means that it has to close X ticks above the previous swing on the left. Okay, let me just go over this real quick because you maybe have not seen this. Okay, lightning is actually, you have a lightning 1, you have lightning 2, and you have lightning 3. Now, lightning 3 is your larger swings. Okay, it's based on a 4 range with a 15 swing strength. So that doesn't mean you have to have 15 bars straight up or anything like that. It just means, 15 bars, but our algorithm will actually catch the swings earlier than the 15. The lightning 1 is just simply following 4 range bars. If they go up and then they go down, and they go up and they go down, and they go up, it just follows the 4 range bars. Lightning 2 has to have at least 2 to the downside or 2 to the upside to ever form lightning 2. So what I mean by identified swing is that this swing right here, where my cursor's at, is not identified till it takes this out. Okay, and then this is an identified swing. This is what we call the secondary identified swing. Okay, and as a rule, your secondary identified swing will not get taken out. Okay, because it's usually your lightning 2 to begin with. Okay, so look at the chart that we're looking at right now, for instance. See how that kicked in my lightning swing? That's an identified lightning 1. Now look what it does if it goes to lightning 2. See, it goes under this swing. See there? And if I put it at 0, it'll be exactly at that swing. See there? Okay, so when I say identified swing, this means that this high, this low, and this much higher high had to actually be with at least 2 bars, up or down. Now, lightning 1, you'll notice that it was different. See, you're basically a bar up, a bar down, a bar up. So that's actually a swing on lightning 1. It's just a minor swing. Okay, and I can do all this on the fly. If I want this stop underneath here, all I got to do is change that to a 2, and there's my lightning swing right there. Okay, you're sure welcome on that. Now, is anybody having trouble seeing? For instance, let's say that you walked into the room and you wanted to know if there was going to be a long trade on this chart. I mean, you're already thrusted, so are you going to chase this? I certainly wouldn't. Okay, but we're already in the trade, so we're good, right? I'm going to go ahead and tighten it to lightning 1. See how easy that is to do? Just change the strength to 1. If I changed it to 3, what would it do? Well, it'd bring the stop way down. See here? Actually, that's 3 bars. What if you brought it to 4? Still the same. What if you brought it to 15 swing strength? It'd be way down here. You wouldn't want your stop way down there, right? So, your swing strength is pretty important. So, 2 is usually about as much as I go for on a pullback, because it can even be below mid-band. If you see that you're really running and you want to tighten it, just simply change it to like a 1. Okay? You can use stealth. See your stealth line right here? See those little dots that are on stealth line? That's because I've got my space bar touched, okay? I can put my stop at stealth if I want to. Engage stealth. See there? That's my stealth line. Now, if I want to offset it a little bit, I can do that also, and then re-engage it. And then my stealth line will actually hold, or it'll get taken out. Exactly. Now, let me ask you a quick question. Anybody? If you were looking for a long trade on this chart, where have they not checked? Anybody? Anybody at all? Because I can show you where they haven't checked. Let me go back to that black chart. Let's just look at it. Let's see here. We're on YM. Let's see where they haven't checked yet. Bear with it just a second. Okay, so you have this is your lightning 4. So let's go with lightning 3. All right. So let's see here. And let's go with lightning 2 to tell where we're actually at. And we're way up here. So where do you think this is going to pull back? Anybody? Exactly. Now, I would short it before it ever gets there. But you'll be shorting against a trend if you do. Okay? But you want to see if more than likely, I'm not going to trade anything just yet. I want to just show you this. Look at this. Now look at that. You're right on top of support. Could you actually buy that right there? Now, is that kind of scary for y'all to buy it at this price right here? Well, since this has changed the background to red and everything, I would have shorted it way up here. We always teach that anyway. Okay? But couldn't you buy that right here, for instance, if you were to have bought it right at support when it came back through it? Now, I might not chase it right now because I would have bought it at 277. Okay? But since it changed the background, what do we do? Well, we're actually in a short background now. So what do we have to do? Let's look and see if we can tell where the next trade is on this chart. All right. Let's get rid of stealth and let's look at our identified swings. That swing is identified right there. Thrust, retrace, thrust. All right. 295, right? All right, let's look to the left, trade to right. Nothing there, right? But there is one here. That's a swing. Okay? So I'd be looking for this little sweet spot right here for a short. Because we have changed the background and everything, so obviously we're heading down now. Could you have used your trend line tool to exit? Absolutely. What I did is just fast forwarded that. We didn't keep the money because we didn't care. Okay? But in your real trading, of course, you do care. Well, let's see if we can get another trade. We've diagnosed the chart, right? Let's see if we can get another trade. Now, will this go up a little higher? Very possibly. Matter of fact, there's resistance right here. Okay. Now, I would probably, well, you're okay anyway. See how it just kissed resistance on the left-hand side? All right. And I'd probably take some contracts off, like so. Okay. And then just ride your runner and see if you get anything else. Now, that was a little deeper, but notice on the left side, that's exactly where it checked. It absolutely, it went above mid-band, but see where that forced that down and then back up? It broke identified swing and it went to the next one. Money shade tool, let's see. You could use a trendline tool as far as that goes, Robert, on your question. Yeah, you can use trendline tool. You want to see if we can get a trendline trade? I don't like the way this one is because you'd be drawing it like that. You want to try it and see if it'll work? I'll try it with you. See, you've got to go with the particular trend line, and you can clearly see your trend line would be right here right now, right? If you were wanting to go short. So you would do wedge, ray, not the ninja ray, that is. Short, touch +2, and you could even do another trend line like so. And I just got it on that one instead. See there? When you do a wedge like this, okay, keep in mind that this wedge would also add, for instance, if this breaks this right here, this would go ahead and add contracts to me. Not that I might want it, but let's see. Let's just see. Kind of sideways, isn't it? Let's see if we can draw another one. If it takes us out, it takes us out. We'll see. This wedge tool is pretty cool. Wedge tool is pretty cool. That was a tongue twister. What the wedge does is just simply this. This is your bottom of your wedge. This is the B button. Okay, so if I wanted to short this, I could simply set it for outside, and if it goes outside that line, it would short 3 contracts. It just has to touch +2. And that's, didn't get it, did it? I moved it and it did. I don't like that. And you would protect some coin already too. Everybody knows that, right? So you would put your stop, well, with lightning, to give an example. You could do that. Okay, let's see if we could do another trade. I'm going to close this one out, and I'm going to ask for a show of hands from the team of where the next trade is. Anybody? Because it could still go lower, but it could go higher. So you've got to know as a trader, you know, where's this next trade on this chart? 24,272. Let's draw a line. That's your identified swing. You've also got this one here that they just pretty much busted down from. Okay, so let's see if they hit their head here. We'll go ahead and short 3. All right, let's see if they do. I'll speed it up a little bit. Not yet. I think I just missed it. Came so close. I'm going to go ahead and take it anyway if that bar touches that line or closes down. That's close enough. That bar really came close and then it tried to close it, so I took it. All right, everybody see that? And of course, what you want to do is you want to protect your coin just in case, because that's support. That was support's now resistance. So if it takes us out, it just takes us out. Okay, and I would put my stop just above that swing like that. Okay. Now looking to the left to trade the right. Does anybody else see an area if this decides to pop up a little bit that we could very well possibly, I'm going to put that stop just a minute, Ben. Looking to the left to trade the right. See this thrust down with no retracement back? Isn't that also a good trade? Wouldn't you think? Let's go ahead and tighten our stop just above resistance, just in case. Why didn't you sell at mid-band? Well, keep in mind, Robert, that when you get a mid-band trade, you really want it to kind of identify with an area that you've already got your line drawn on your chart. Okay, it came within a tick of mid-band, so that was a pretty decent little trade. We got it. Came a little higher than 72, but we got it. It's not looking too promising to me, though. It just stopped us out. All right, let's see if we can get in another trade then. Diagnose your chart, and you tell me where you think this trade is going to more than likely fire. Right below that line. That was a phantom trade. They came a little deeper than I wanted them to, but notice how we drew our line. That's resistance, and they came back down below it. That's exactly the way we draw in that room every single day. Now, will this trade work out? There's no way to know, but since this is actually starting to get a trend change look to it, I would really tighten up targets just in case, simply because they took out the swing to the left. So now you have a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high. Okay, so you want to be careful when it does that. And by the way, if you see this type of action like this, isn't this kind of like what we talk about boxing in also? So let me ask you a question. Does anybody see a wedge? We don't know if it'll fire, but you could draw two of them if you wanted to. You could actually draw it this way for long above, and you could draw it this way for short below, right? Okay, now what I normally do, rather than just drawing on top of the little swings, I'll take my bar and move it a little bit, keep the angle that I drew, and move this one also. That way you don't just get wicked into a trade. Move it about 3 or 4 ticks. You'll be glad you did, believe me, because they'll fake you into those trendline trades. I've showed this in several webinars because, you know, for one thing, what we're looking at is we're looking at a short trade if it takes out this line, and we're looking for a long trade if it takes out this line. Okay, let's see if we get one of them. That was close. See what I talked about wicking? That's a smart way to do this, I'll tell you, because if not, they'll get you in these trades. It may be to the upside. We've got a wedge formed right here. Wedge 2. Wedge plus 2 simply means touch plus 2. I could even set it for close plus 2 or touch plus 3 or anything that I want to. I can even do it on a touch if I want to. If it touches that line above it, that just means it has to just be just above the actual physical line, then it will fire. Now, when I usually see a wick like that, I go ahead and do this and move this one. And the reason for that is, again, so they don't wick you in. Okay? You're still keeping the angle, but you're giving it a little bit of wiggle room because you don't want to get in on a breakout trade that, for instance, if this was to break down, it might hit its head down here to begin with. But if this does fire, it'll be a wedge trade. I've got it at touch plus 0. And if they wick it without firing it, we'll move our little line again. Now, let me ask a question real quick. Does anybody see another trade on this chart if this does decide to break up or down? Because I'll show you where they're at. That's the whole idea of this webinar tonight, is to show you to wait for the trade to come to you. Now, this trade's come to us because it's retraced and you're getting higher lows. So I'm thinking this is going to break up. The reason is because, again, you have a low, you have a high, have a higher low. Once you get this higher high, you're looking for this retracement. And if it does pop up, we'll be in a long trade and we'll put a tight stop just in case. But the overall trend is still up. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Somebody else just said, well, we just got a trade. Move one target out of the way, move another target to a swing, move another target to the previous swing, which is right there. Okay? And we'll leave our stop for right now where it's at. Now notice how the new version of Object Trader turns off the opposite trade. It wasn't doing that before, but we fixed it. Okay? That was important because, you know, well, let's face it, you could get stopped out of your 3 by just hitting this line. Okay? And you didn't want it to do that. Now, if I wanted to add to this, I'd just simply turn that back on, and it would even add if we touch the line plus. See if it does. Unless I've got my total contract set at 3, I might. I think I do. Yeah, I do. All right, so we're just going to be at 3. Okay? But when you're trading, you have to always realize where the trade's going to come back to give an example. Okay, now we broke to the upside, so let's speed this up, but I'm going to show you where more than likely this would get you another trade. You have a high here, a low here, so if they take this out right here, wouldn't you think that they would probably come back and kiss it? And the answer is yes. And then look on the other side of it, if they took this out and came back and kissed it, we'd be short. Okay, let's see which one of them it does. Right now we're good to go. All right, you want to see? Let's look to the left to trade the right. We have an identified swing. Let's look at it just a second. Identified swing's right here, but it hadn't really closed above yet. So my identified swing is actually right down here for right now, but I'm thinking it's going to be here because it is trying to close it up. Let's see if it can. Speed it up a little bit. Yeah, it closed above. Okay, so where's your identified swing on this chart? So could you put your stop there? And the answer is yes, and you could even use the lightning to actually do it. Hit your space bar, you'll know where it's at, pull it back a little bit, and then engage it. Okay? We got our stop plus close. Let's find out. It bounced perfectly. All right, let's see if we can get this other trade here real quick that I was talking about. What do you think? I'm thinking that more than likely it's going to come back and it's going to kiss. Came back a little bit deeper, but it kissed support at our lightning identified swing. And let's go ahead and just add on PM meter. See, the power meter went red. Let's add on a green one if it goes up. Just added. Does everybody see how you can see on your chart where these things are coming back to? Now, will they come exactly where you think they will? Not always, but they'll come to like these predictors. To give an example, here's an example right here of what happens when you're trading like this. Okay, notice how this is trying to come right back down on top of right here. That's a little predictor right there. So let me ask a question real quick. If you weren't in this trade, Don't you think more than likely it's going to test my line right here? Just more than likely it's going to at least get close to it. Now, what if it doesn't take it out totally? Well, we've got tools for that. Let's just start with a fresh trade just to see if we can get it. Wedge. Whoop, grabbed the wrong tool. Move it out just a little bit. Let's see if we can get a trade. And if it makes a different wedge, we'll even go different on it. We'll just see where it actually gets ready to fire. Looking to the left to trade the right. Let's see what they've checked so far. They checked here. They checked lower. They should hit their head right here on this swing. A little higher, one more tick. Now that's where I would probably be doing this. One, and then turn on my others. See what I'm getting at? Because it came down perfectly to predictor and support. And then let's see if we can get a little add-on with our trend line. Oh, I forgot to turn it back on, didn't I? That's all right. We got one. That's no big deal. Remember, when you fire even one, it turns this off. So that's one of the things about one cancels the other type thing that you've got to be concerned about, because it does do that. Okay. Now I just missed that one, unfortunately, because I'm going 200 times. But let's see if we can get another trade here real quick. Let's get rid of all the lines, and let's see if we can figure out where another trade is. Look to the left to trade the right. You've got a swing. You've got a swing. Barely took out this, so this is not an identified swing, except for the fact that it is an a priori swing. So I trust it when it becomes an a priori swing, which means that it took 15 bars to get there. Okay, so I trust that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to the left, and I'm going to see where my next swing is. We've got one right. Well, that's the closest in to the left right there. And then this is actually your swing right here, but they've already checked it. So I would expect there's no other swing through here except for maybe right here even. And that's a real iffy one, because that's actually a bar down and a bar up. We'll consider it one, though. If it touches that line, I'll fire some contracts. We'll see if it does. See if it does. It's got to come down a little bit further. I'm not going to chase it there. You could put a wedge on, absolutely. We could put a wedge on it, sure. Turn that on. Now, the reason that I fired that is because this swing popped up here, and you need a higher low. Okay, now that's an aggressive trade, but I'll just about bet you it goes on up simply because you're looking for a higher low. Call those all the time in the room. Okay, now since we fired that, we need to turn our wedge back on. Everybody see that? Let's see which line at 2430, 24301. Well, this is your actual a priori swing. This is your lightning swing. If you draw lightning 3, see your lightning 3 swing. So if this is going to head up, you have a high, you have a low, you have a higher high. Okay, it barely took out this high, and it really didn't close above it except on that bar right there. Yeah, if yours, Dennis, is 01-2018 and your other one is X17, you really need to change those. Do you use wedge as a resistance trade? Well, you certainly can. Yeah, you can even use it. You want to see if one will work the other way? We'll let it thrust, retrace, and form what we call a swing, and then we'll see if we can actually get a trade the other way. I'll get rid of the lines. You want to see if it'll work? It's got to go up first before I can draw a trend line. All right, it did. Could I draw a trend line like that? Just in case this thing was to decide to go the other direction? That would be a very, very aggressive trade. I probably wouldn't do it. But you could actually even draw it even tighter if you see it do a little lightning. But why not just trade the lightning instead? You want to see how lightning actually works out on this type of deal? Go to lightning and reverse the trade if you get a lightning red. Now keep in mind, if you do that, that's a little bit of a breakout trade, and you'll have to put your stop above whatever swing there is. Let's see if it works. I have no idea, but we'll find out. No lightning yet. It's kind of, there you go. There's lightning. You'd have to put your stop just above that swing, unfortunately. You could actually turn on, I already missed lightning too. Wow, that trade turned out okay to begin with. Look at that. There's something to be said for stair-stepping up, stair-stepping down. Now, like I say, I wouldn't just let this thing, unless it decides to break down and go the other direction. Now, if you were trading this the conservative way, though, let me show everybody what I think will happen on this. Okay, that's a phantom trade right off the bat, right? So could you actually try that for, say, 10 ticks? Let's try it. 10 ticks is all I want. That's a phantom trade. Now remember, when I taught phantoms first time after trend change, this can be a pretty good little trade. But does everybody see that more than likely this is going to break down? And why is it going to break down? Anybody? Well, it broke lightning, your a priori, right across here, didn't it? Now, that doesn't mean that I can't get a nice thrust and a retrace trade, but more than likely, this little thing is going to break down. Because when they take out these lows like this, what did we talk about earlier on the chart? We're looking for a thrust down. Let me go to the chart. Here's your little swings right here. You're looking for a thrust down and a retrace, right? And a rollover. So I draw my line like this. Let's see if it goes above that line at all, and then I would short it if it comes back below it. Let's see if it does. It's above it. It's below it. See how easily you could have shorted that? See there? Now, how did we know that was changing, by the way? By wait for the trade to come to you. Now, obviously, we've missed the trade. So, I was showing you how it would set up, though. That's the way a trend change happens right there. Because what did you get? You got a high, you got a low. You even took out your a priori swing to the left. You then thrust, back up as far as a retrace, and then you broke support again. So if you look at this, wouldn't this pretty much be a little sweet spot for a short? And let's look at it. See, it came back above resistance, which is our line we've got drawn, and it came back below it. So could you actually have boxed in? And the answer is yes. Now, does anybody see another trade setting up on this chart right now? Is it long or is it short? Anybody? We talked about this trade on Saturday. Okay, so draw on your chart. Your a priori swing is right here. Everybody sees that, right? Your a priori swing is right there. That's resistance. If you don't trust it, then only do like one contract or something. But if it touches that line, I'm going to short this thing. And if the bar closes down, I'm going to short this thing. Because what are we looking at right now? We're looking at a phantom trade. Now, this is an aggressive way to trade it. That's if it kisses resistance. But if you want to trade it less aggressively, then draw a trend line or something. Let's get rid of your lines on the chart. You want to take it less aggressively? We'll do it. Pull it back a little bit. All right. It's pretty much going to have to take that out, isn't it? Let's see if we get something. And we're short on touch, so we're good. Well, it didn't fire my trade on my wedge, so I fired it manually. Not sure exactly why on that. Market replay does wonders. Okay, but see how you got you a nice little trade? Now, where would your target be on this? Well, you can even reset your line, by the way. Look at this. I already missed it. Could you be ready to take the trade the other direction if it happens to bounce? Sure. Just get your trend line ready. And let's see if we can get something. That's if we don't take this out. That's an a priori swing right there. If it doesn't take it out, what's it going to do? Anybody? Let's see. It does it live, same problem. Well, Alex, I'll have our programmer really take a look at that. But what I would personally do is if with this reverse on, I may have done that to myself. But let's just see real quick if it will fire if I do this. I'm going to leave it real close. We don't care about the trade as much as if it'll fire. I want to see if it'll fire. Of course, it may just head down. That's fine too. Let's see if we get a little trend line break. Because if it doesn't fire, yeah, it fired. And you can even move it and restart it if you want to. That's what I do a lot of times if I use the wedge like that, is reposition it and even fire another one. It should fire. Yeah, you got 3. I've got it set for a total of 3. Okay. But we'll get our programmer to really look that over. The one time that I don't personally like the wedge is on the close bar. But keep in mind what this has got to do, and I think the guy that did this is genius to begin with, because this is actually taking the math on this bar, on this ray right here, but it's also got to take in consideration the actual places where the real prices are on the chart. That's why I use touch most of the time, simply because as a touch, it'll usually do, wow, that's running. It'll usually do the touch pretty easily. Okay, where would you take some profit? Well, we've only got one target, so unfortunately we just have to move it. See why, everyone? Because I had only one target set. Did everybody get something out of this tonight to where you'll be able to see? Now, I want to show you something real quick too. I'm going to fast forward this. We don't care about this trade because I want to go over, I talked with one of the members today, and I want to show you a trade, and you tell me if it's a phantom. And we're going to go to Russell. Let me get a Russell chart up. All right, bear with me a second. And we got to go a little bit, so I'm going to leave it on 500 so it'll move. But we got to get to 937, so it'll take a few minutes, but let's just get there. It goes pretty quick at 500 times. Just let it do its thing. deep bar probes down here. That's right, but they're not phantoms. Let's let it get to about 30, and then I'm going to ask everybody in the room if this is a phantom setup. Got another hour to go. Now that's a phantom setup. That's a phantom setup. See it? Perfect. Matter of fact, I called that one in the room this morning. Remember, everyone? Phantom setup this morning. Now let's see if we get another one. We're going to go to 937 because I was talking to a gentleman today, one of our good members. But I want everybody to know what a phantom is and what a phantom is not. We went over this Saturday in the webinar, so let's just let this thing do its thing for a few minutes. Getting there. Now, does this mean you couldn't take lots of trades? Obviously, but what I want everybody to tell me is if this is a phantom setup that comes up. Let it do its thing. About give you a headache watching bars go up and down like yo-yos, doesn't it? All right, 902, not yet. Keep going. Get ready to slow it down. One more little bit. All right, let's slow it down. Now let's see, this is on today's date, so let's go ahead and go forward a little bit. Now, is that a phantom? Anybody? Nope. Why is it not a phantom? Well, for one thing, you weren't able to box it in and get a trade to begin with because lightning never even changed. You'd be putting your, basically here, it changed the background. That's exactly right. If it changes background, where's your phantom now? Anybody? Where is your phantom now on Russell? It's at between line 6 and line 7, right? Line 6 and line 7. You want to see if more than likely that it probably did something like that. We're not going to trade it, but I want to show you how this works. Now, is that a phantom? Anybody? That's a phantom. Now, you want to see if you'll get 10 ticks? Let's see. Let's just pretend we're getting in right now at 76.90. Let's just see if it gets 75.90. Just for 10 ticks. That's all I care about. I think you did, didn't you? 76.90 to, was that 70? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think you did get 10. You did get a scalp, but that phantom was here. It came down basically to right here. But now, would you be looking for another phantom? No, because look at, and also your background did change to green, didn't it? Absolutely. Okay. So where's your next phantom on this chart? Anybody? Anybody at all? And you want to see if it actually set up or what happened? And we'll hurry. I'm gonna get through this in just a minute. Let's just see if we get a true phantom or not. This may take too long to actually get there. Okay, you had a mid-band trade. Another little mid-band trade. I got to go on 500 times, so let's just see if everybody can pick this even at 500 times, and we're going to wrap here in just about 2 minutes. but I want to see if everybody can get this. You know, you got some good mid-band trades there, by the way. Okay, we're getting close to a phantom, aren't we? 1120-ish. That was a phantom, wasn't it? Little phantom at 1132, wasn't it? Absolutely it was. Everybody see that? Between line 1 and 2 or close to line 2, Robert, you can also take this trade here. It didn't quite hit a phantom, but it came within a tick or so, so I usually consider that still to be a phantom. Good mid-band trades. Another mid-band trade. Just watch it for just a minute and see. I may run out of data first. We'll find out. I want y'all to tell me if it's a phantom trade, though, that sets up next. Is it a phantom yet, though? Because what you do with a phantom, you want to get between line 2 and line 1, okay? And then you really want to let this power meter either change or box it in or even do a trend line on it, okay? Now, if you did fire this, for instance, right here instead, then don't let them take out this, literally where you got in. Don't let them take it out, okay? Because usually if that happens, I've seen this hundreds of times. There, see, you just got a red background. Now, is that a phantom now? And the answer is no. But did power meter ever change to green? And the answer is still no. So if you're more of a conservative trader, you never got in this trade between line 2 and line 1 because basically it did a bar up, a bar down. You would box it in or you would wait for lightning to change. Okay. And did lightning change? No. Now let's look one more time and then we're definitely going to wrap. Okay, we're short now. Where's our phantom? Anybody? Line 7 to 8, that's right. So your phantom is here. Little sweet spot, there's your phantom. Everybody see that? Came right to a phantom, didn't it? Okay, now that was a legitimate trade, but keep in mind, I did this at 500 times, but you don't have to just take it, you know, the moment it gets in there with a bar close. You can always wait for a 1, 2, 3 reversal. You know, for instance, bar up, bar down, it's got to at least take out that bar, which would be on that bar right there. Put your stop above the swing. Okay. On this one, you never really got that because you had a, you know, bar down, bar up. Okay. And it never closed above this swing right here. It was just a wicked candle. Okay. But yeah, that's a truly legitimate phantom right there. And that was a truly legitimate phantom back here, but it was not here. Anytime this background changes to red, you got to be careful with it because our software is saying that they're heading down, not up. Okay, so then you're looking for the retrace into either mid-band or phantoms. All right. How would you have started that short? Well, Robert, on your question, I had it going 500 times, so there wasn't any way to trade it. But the way you would do that, you could actually even, you know, for instance, when this busted up above here, okay, and it went to phantom, you could always wait for it to break below support again, which would be right there at that line, and take that bar down. You know, it's a more conservative trade. You could also do this. You could draw a trend line across the lows, back it off just a little bit, you would have gotten in on that bar still. And another way we teach all the time is box it in at mid-band. And bias was to the downside to begin with. Okay? Hope everybody got something out of this. I hope you can see a little bit more on your charts. You know, we're not going to hit every single trade right, but I can guarantee you if a person learns to really draw on their charts, you'll be pretty amazed at how accurate you'll be on some of this stuff. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope you had a good webinar tonight. Okay, Dennis. Yeah, she'll send you that update. Not a problem. By the way, anybody doesn't have the scripts at all, you can get them off the website now. It's in the same spot as the template, and I'll show everybody in the morning. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.